It is the dreamer herself, Valerie Valentine. I know I've been away for some time. As you can see, your girl is 26 weeks pregnant currently. That was part of the reason I stopped making videos. Like with my last channel, I got pregnant and editing was just a toll on me, and recording and coming up with all the content, and I was so tired. But that was like my first pregnancy. After you have the first baby, you know what to expect. You learn how to move differently with things. I was pregnant in my previous videos. I just didn't know how to break the news, or if I was ever going to break the news. Your girl has been having a time in life. It's another reason I haven't been around. I kept telling myself, well, when I start feeling better, you know, I'll get to it. But today, I got the urge, and I'm just like, what better to do a video than now? I have healing content, whether that be internally, physically, emotionally, and currently it is very much been dealing with a little bit of depression, but I've always had depression. I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety. So during this pregnancy, I can definitely say it hasn't been as bad. I haven't been having really bad episodes how I've had in the past, and that's a good thing. I've been learning how to cope. I've been speaking with a therapist. Well, I'm in between changing therapists at the moment, so haven't been able to talk to anyone lately. So I guess this is my therapy session. I've been hit by a car. I've lost a friend, or should I say the friend lost me, because I'm a good friend. I don't think I lost anyone, because I've never did anything intentionally to lose you. So I will say that friend lost me. I've been dealing with situation with my baby's father, as well as my living situation has not been easy. And right now, just trying to find me. I'm learning to step out of my comfort zone ever since my little situation with my baby's father, which is my ex-boyfriend at the same time. I'm very comfortable with being alone, but I have children now, so it scares me a bit. I've been trying to put myself out there, like doing things alone, like, I don't know, go eat by myself, go shopping by myself. I might be giving birth by myself. Let's just pray that we don't have to do that, because that's scary. I don't wish that on anyone. I wouldn't wish that on the worst person ever. That's not something that someone, like, that's an intimate moment that you should share with anybody. Like, if you have someone, have that person there with you. Don't, especially as a black woman, I feel like hospitals are equivalent to black women as cops are to black men. That's just my opinion. Stepped out of my comfort zone. I had went to a library, and in the midst of me going to the library, I found a flyer for a women's group in my neighborhood. I'm not gonna post it on my channel because it has addresses, and I don't want the address to be exploited, like, so you guys would know where I'm at. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's stalkers out here. I don't need anybody like, oh, she's gonna be here on this date. So if you are interested, on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, and it will be posted. I more than likely have to know you in order for you to see that post, because I'm probably only going to put it for a certain area. I don't want the address getting out to too many people. In this meeting, we discovered a lot. Well, I've definitely discovered a lot about myself, and I discovered a lot about things that aren't normally talked about in the black community, or as a black woman in general. You get what I'm saying? As a woman in general, because a lot of these factoids really did surprise me. The one that surprised me most isn't on this, so I'll just say that. Black women are now the leading host for HIV. I think we make up more than half of the percentage nowadays. Us as black women, we are now the leading for HIV, higher than gay and bi males. And that is scary because, you know, like I said, it's not really a talked about thing in the neighborhood. We are trained to think that only gay people can get that disease. No, baby. No, I'm gonna say where I think it came from. I don't know, man. But just because you're not cheating doesn't mean he's not cheating. Or she. The video that I saw on TikTok, there was a lady who she's devastated, like crying in her video because she found out that the guy that she had intercourse with had
uncurable STD.
Let's just put it this way. If you can see how devastated she is as a woman, why can't a man be as devastated or embarrassed? So of course they're not going to say anything to the next person. They think that they're never, like their sex life is just going to be tarnished if they tell anyone. Not only that, us as a community, we bully people when we find out that someone has a disease. I'm not justifying this man's actions, but we as a community need to we need to normalize things so that everyone else can begin to normalize other things.
If you are sexually active and you know that you have an STD, then you need to inform people of that. Because when you don't, and you infect that person, you are changing their life forever, and they are making a decision that they do not know. Like, this shit is going to change the rest of my life. And there's nothing I can do. And I'm embarrassed. And I'm humiliated, and I feel so stupid. I feel so stupid for letting someone take advantage of me in a moment of weakness.
HIV, STI, myths versus facts. I'm going to say it. You guys can write it down on your end or comment below if you think it's a myth or a fact. And then I'll say if it was true or false. Number one, you cannot tell if a person is infected with HIV by the way a person looks. That's actually a fact. Just because that person is infected doesn't mean you're going to see a bunch of bumps on their face. It may come off as pimples. It may come off as hair bumps. You'll never know. Having unprotected sex with just one person can put you at risk for becoming infected with HIV. Fact. Why? Because that one person can be infected. Or, like I just said, just because you're not cheating doesn't mean they're not cheating. Only men who have sex with other men become infected with HIV. Myth. As I just stated before, black women are now the leading host for HIV, not gay men. If you are on the pill, you do not have to worry about STIs. I'm just gonna assume maybe it's the PrEP pill because I just learned about PrEP, which we'll get into that later. Myth. Just because you take a pill that helps reduce your symptoms doesn't mean that you can't still infect someone. It just makes it less likely that you will infect someone. You can catch STIs from using a public toilet. Now this one's a trick question. I'm pretty sure most of us know which STD that you can catch from a public toilet, because this was like a known fact in the community. But let's be clear here. Yes, you can catch crabs, but that's not one that is pretty common, so it's not really one that most people worry about. That would be myth. You'll know if you have HIV because of your symptoms. Myth. Just because you have the symptoms don't mean that that's what that is. Did you know that the symptoms are pretty similar to the flu? Could take up to a few years to be detected for HIV. So you may have symptoms and still test negative. Just because you have the symptoms doesn't mean that that's what that is. Just because you don't have the symptoms don't mean that's not what it is either. You can't get HIV from sharing cups or glasses. Fact, you can't infect someone just through a saliva. A factoid that was given in the past was any bodily fluids. But really, the truth is, it has to be open wounds. Like, let's say you kiss someone who's infected with HIV. I feel like if you don't have an open mouth sore and that person doesn't have an open mouth sore, you may or may not be fine. But if you have a cut on your hand and that person has a cut on their hand and you end up touching their hand at that same open wound, that's blood and open wounds swapping, you may be infected. Herpes can only be spread if sores are visible. That is a myth. You do not have to have sores in order to infect someone. Just because they have a sore, just because they don't have a sore doesn't mean they're not carrying the virus. Like I said before, it could look like a hair bump, it could look like pimple, it could look like anything up to a sore. Like, it ranges. You just have to be careful when you see something like that. Be cautious. And let's get another thing straight. If you get into it with a man or a woman, and you could be fully naked and in bed. If you say, no, I don't want to do this, consent starts when you say no. You don't have to go through with it. That one hit me when I heard that in the group session, because us as women, we feel like, well, I don't want to upset him, or I don't want him to force himself upon me because I said no. I don't want him to feel like I was leading him on. Fuck it if you were. If you said no, your answer is no. You could literally be dick in hand, and then you think about it before you go ahead, but I don't want to do this. Your no means no. Doesn't matter where you are in the situation. Having HIV means you have AIDS. Myth. Why? Because HIV and AIDS are two separate things. HIV can eventually turn into AIDS, but it is not the same thing. A person must have a lot of sexual partners to be a risk for HIV. Myth. Because as we said before, you can only have one partner and still be at risk for HIV and not even know it. By the way, I am not a great presentation type of person. I'm just giving you guys the information as it was given to me. If you are interested, like I said, you can follow my page and I'll have it posted. It means you'll have to be a friend, which means you'll have to be local to see that post. And you'll get a lot more information from them better than I can explain it. The pill, which is PrEP. It's new to me. I've never heard of it. Apparently there's no cure for HIV, but you can take a pill to be very low detectancy. Pre-exposure. Taking prescription medication every day before you are exposed to HIV to help reduce the risk of getting HIV. PrEP is for the people who are HIV negative and are at risk for getting HIV through sex. Post-exposure. Taking prescription medications daily immediately after exposure to HIV for 28 days in a row. PEP must start within 72 hours after exposure and is only available from a doctor or healthcare center. Undetectable. If you have HIV and a major goal is to get your viral load to undetectable, there is no cure. But being undetectable means that there's little virus in the blood that a test can't measure it. How can you get it undetectable? By taking HIV treatment every day. Treatment as prevention. Starting and sticking to HIV treatment every day can also help prevent the transmission of HIV. How? Current research shows that if you are living with HIV, getting to and staying undetectable helps prevent the spread of HIV to others through sex. Find more resources and learn more at healthysexuals.com and helpstopthevirus.com. Because October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we also learned about breast cancer and how to check for breast cancer. That's another thing in the community that is not highly talked about. We need to learn how to do self-exams. We need to learn what we're exactly looking for. We need to learn how to look for a correct doctor. I myself have never been to get checked for my breast. Why? Because I was told if it's not in your family and if you have no lumps, you have no reason to be checked. But it's always safe to get checked yearly. I have never been checked. So let's make that normal. Let's normalize that as well. Speaking of normal, this section is a reminder that there is no normal and an invitation to explore how well and how we all exist on a spectrum. We have different bodies, different needs and desires, and different reasons for HIV prevention. Understanding and embracing these differences will help us better evaluate and support our whole health. Now here's the fun part. You guys can go ahead and write it down. Grab a piece of paper and a pen because I do not have the website for these worksheets. But they're really fun to do, so I'll give you a second to get your paper and pen. Who are you? Activity. Write down 3 things that describes you. I'll give you some time to put that down. Great. Now, this time, write 3 more things that describes you. What you think describes you. You see how there's a difference in words? It doesn't always have to be positive either. For instance, my 3 words that I think others use to describe me is creative, caring, and outgoing. My 3 words to describe myself: lost, caring, and overcompensating. Why do I have caring on both papers? Because I feel like caring could be both negative and positive, which kind of goes into me overcompensating. I don't know when my care is a little bit too much, when I'm not receiving the same, like I'm not being poured into the same way I'm pouring into everyone else. So it leads to me to overcompensate and overdo things when I need to save a little bit for myself. You go ahead and you think about why you chose these 6 words. Write a love letter to your body. It might not be perfect. It might be a work in progress. You might be evolving it into something that feels more authentic to you. But it's yours. It's carried you here and it's going to carry you further. It's helped you love, taken you to new places, held you together, carried ideas, burdens, mysteries, and dreams. Here's an example that came with the paperwork. Dear heart, thank you for everything you've healed when I thought it wasn't possible. And to my legs, you have carried me to so much. You have carried me to so many places I thought I would never see. Even when I was so tired, my arms, you have held me more than anyone would have thought possible. I love my tummy. Together we have made 2 beautiful children. I'm going to be bold and share with you guys what I wrote. Dear brain, thank you for the thoughts and the knowledge that you have given me, even when I don't feel very smart. And to my heart, you have the funniest way of healing, even when I think that I'll never care or love for anyone ever again. Even when I was at my lowest and not wanting to ever be close to another human again, my brain got me through it. You have my full trust in the next steps in life. My love, my dedication goes to me now. My mind and my heart together, I will find my true purpose and spread my love in ways I enjoy for those who need it most. Now this was my favorite activity and I almost left it out. So instead of me going back and re-recording, here's a little snippet of it and you guys can pause to read and do the activity on your own if you like. This is the part of the meeting that touched me the most. That's why I think this might have been my favorite activity that we did. Because it did get to me a little bit deeper than I expected it to, I am not willing to share my answers. So with that being said, I'm going to close out the video and thank you for coming and leave a little thumbs up for me, like and comment, share it, subscribe, and work on that self-health. Learn a little, take some time out to learn a little bit more about breast cancer, since it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the HIV health, because we all can use a little bit of education on HIV. Thank you.